Good evening, everyone. We'd like to go ahead and call this regular meeting of the El Centro City Council to order. At this time, we would ask for our city clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Jackson?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Silva?
Present.
Mayor Villegas Walker?
Here.
Councilmember Cardenas?
Present.
And Councilmember Sanders?
Here.
If you could all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for our invocation. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Heavenly Father, we come this evening with hearts filled with gratitude. We come knowing that we enter the season of goodwill toward all men. We're grateful for your Son and the blessings that he has been able to bestow upon us individually and collectively. Lord, as we pray, keep us mindful of those who are less fortunate than we are. Keep us mindful for the men and women who are on the battlefield and those who have paid the ultimate price, dear Jesus. We ask that you would comfort them. For those families who are entering into a season of bereavement, please circle them with your angels. For those families who have loved ones in hospitals and rest homes, give them strength to face tomorrow. And then, Lord, for the rest of us, we just want to praise you for all of your blessing. Even when we bow beneath the cross, we will raise our hands and praise you anyhow. This and all blessings we ask in thy name. Amen.
Thank you. The City Council did meet in closed session today at 11:30. We would ask now that our city attorney report out on closed session.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. On a motion by Councilmember Jackson, second by Councilmember Silva, the City Council met in closed session at 11:32 a.m. Councilmember Sanders was absent. Councilmember Cardenas arrived at 11:35 a.m. and all other council members were present. There was an added item to closed session as the need to take action arose after the agenda had been posted. Moved by Councilmember Jackson, seconded by Councilmember Silva to add the anticipated litigation agency to initiate item to the closed session agenda. The motion carried 3-0 with Councilmembers Sanders and Cardenas absent. A report was given by staff in regard to the added item, and Community Development Director Norma Villacana participated in the report. Direction was given to staff with no final action to report. With regard to the pending litigation entitled City of El Centro versus Cosio, Imperial County Superior Court case number ECU 07564, a report was given for information only, and Community Development Director Norma Villacana participated in the report. A report was given to Council on the two anticipated litigation items listed on the agenda. There is no final action to report, but direction was given to staff on both items. Community Development Director Norma Villacana participated in one of the reports, and James P. Lowe of Counsel to the law firm Lounsbury, Ferguson, Altona, and Peak participated in the other report. Closed session concluded at 1:02 p.m., and that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Becker. At this time, we'll move on to presentations and announcements by mayor. This first presentation will be some certificates of appreciation for some very heroic efforts by 4 individuals that took place on November 30th out at IVC during an event that was sponsored by the City of El Centro as a fundraiser for the Special Olympics. It's one of those things that when you live in a small community, little bits of information start to trickle in, and you eventually learn the story and the magnitude and the impact that it can have on you. So the first story coming out was that there was a fundraising event at IVC, and there had been a health event, and then the next thing you know, that it was a pretty serious health event, and the person's in the hospital. And then you show up for work on Monday and find out that it's one of your coworkers. And that's when it really comes home to roost. So at this point, I would like to ask Murray Anderson to come up and share with us what happened that day. And at the end of this, we are going to recognize 4 very, very special people who are responsible for actually Murray being with us.
Thank you, Mayor, for inviting me, and council members, thank you for inviting me to the meeting tonight. To share my story, it's, well, what can I say? I guess a little over 2 weeks ago at the Turkey Duathlon, the fundraiser for Special Olympics that City of El Centro hosted, basically I died. But thanks to four amazing people, I'm here today. I went out there that morning feeling great, you know, ready to compete, run the mile, bike my 12 miles, then run another 3 miles. I thought it was going to be, you know, just a nice, healthy Saturday workout. Finished my mile run, began to change, you know, put my cycling shorts on because I kind of like the pads in the butt. They help out a little bit on long rides. So put my cycling shorts on, got my helmet on, and went to step on the bike and proceeded to go into cardiac arrest, have a heart attack. Collapsed over to my left side, as you can see, still got the scar to prove it. And from what I hear, my daughter let out a scream that turned every head in the area. And before people could even finish turning their head, there were 4 people charging over to start working on me. 22 minutes of CPR by these 4 individuals basically kept me going. From what I hear, County Fire got there with an EMT, and one of the 4 individuals working on me is an EMT with County Fire. So he knew exactly what to do. He grabbed a defibrillator. I got a couple of shocks, and the heart started beating again. Went to El Centro Regional. They stabilized me and got me up to UCSD Medical Center, where they found one of my arteries was 99% blocked and did an angioplasty and put in a stent, and here I am today. So I'm doing much better today. Getting stronger. My chest still hurts from, you'll see one of these guys that gets recognized as a big guy, he pounded on me for a long time. So my chest is still a little bit sore, but I am getting stronger. Saw the cardiologist today, he liked all the numbers that came back. So I am slowly but surely getting better and stronger. So I am here today to ask you to help me recognize these 4, I call them my angels. So, Madam Mayor, if you want to call them up, or I can call them up.
Well, I would like to recognize our coworker Lupita Islas, who is here. I believe Lupita, although you did not remember this, Lupita went to visit you in the hospital on Sunday. And I thought I saw Pat. Did Pat walk in, Pat Urano? Pat, who I saw you the Monday after that event, and I've known you for a long, long time, Pat, and I think that was the first time I have ever seen you really, really rattled by anything. And I know, Murray, that you were in a lot of people's prayers, and the only other thing I want to mention before we call these people up is that when Murray first came back to the office to let us know that he was okay and he brought his family, that was just such a tremendous moment, and it was an opportunity for us to share that there's a reason why you're here, and there's a reason why this happened, and we need to do something about it. And so I've asked the City of El Centro, and I've asked El Centro Regional Medical Center to identify those people who are certified to teach CPR. And so going into 2014, we are going to have a commitment by this city to move forward with CPR classes that are available to the public, so that the life-saving skills that allow you to be here are going to be available to more people throughout our community. So
That's wonderful.
at this time, Ray, why don't we go ahead and call these folks up?
I would love to recognize these 4 people. Okay. The first is Christina Santana. Carmen Bravo. Carol Meek Cervantes. And finally, the guy who beat me up for get 22 minutes, Gonzalo Sanchez. And I would just like to say that these four people, they weren't there to be nurses and, primary care providers out there. They were there as competitors, but when they saw somebody in trouble, they didn't hesitate. They weren't competitors. They immediately went into, life-saving mode without hesitation. So I can't say thank you to you guys enough. Thank you.
I'd like to bring to you this City of El Centro Certificate of Appreciation presented to you, Ms. Cristina Santana, for your heroic efforts during the 2013 Turkey Duathlon in saving a human's life and going beyond the call of duty. We're all very, very happy. Put me in the big I'm not sure where So we will we'll keep everyone posted on those CPR classes. Thank you again for being here. On a lighter note, City of El Centro is now in the Guinness World Records book. We are a world record holder. If I could have our Director of Parks and Recreation come down here. Serious. So we have a Guinness World Record Certificate of Participation presented to the City of El Centro. Participated in the following record event. The largest swimming lesson at multiple venues consists of 32,450 participants and was achieved by the World Water Park Association USA at 432 locations across the world on 18th of June 2013. And down here it says officially amazing, and that's what you should have on your business card. You are officially amazing. So with this, if you could give us some detail.
Yeah, this was this was really exciting to participate in. They've been doing it for a few years, and since we don't have our own facility right now, we have to rely on using the Central pool. And by the time our programs begin for the summer, they've already usually hosted this. So it worked out perfect because they were hosting the event the first day our swim lesson program began. So we were able to participate. These are two of our water safety instructors who actually participated in teaching the swim lesson. We have Rebecca Korfman and Nicole Proxel. So they were just two of the instructors that were there. And we're just really proud. It's really fun. I'm proud because it's something that every child needs to know, every adult needs to know, and that it's never too late to learn how to swim. So it's just something I'm really proud of. Aquatics is my passion, and so to know that we participated and achieved this in our city is just really exciting. So, and I did want to let the council as well as everyone else here know, not only are all of the staff trained in lifeguarding and CPR and first aid, we also do teach the courses through Parks and Recreation. So we are teaching them actually within our city, and we do it usually in April and May. So. Perfect. So if anyone is interested, and there's something maybe that the American Red Cross can't fit into their schedule, we also teach those classes.
Get it on our website and all the rest. Perfect.
So, all right.
Thank you.
So,
Did
thank
either of
you.
you want to say something? No? All right. Thank you. Congratulations. Next is the scheduled public comment. We have a presentation of the 2013 Christmas Parade Float winner plaque to the city of El Centro by Jaime Arnold, Chamber of Commerce President.
Mrs. Mayor, Councilman, how are you? As you know, we just had our Christmas parade, so I'd like to present to Parks and Rec back-to-back first place winner for the Public Service Organization Float, and I'd like to thank you also for participating in our parade. Thank you very much.
It was awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. So,
Where's Pat? No Pat?
She's holding the door.
Okay. She's doing double duty today.
we'll wait.
Pat really does need to come down and accept this award because on the Monday before the parade, we weren't really even sure we were going to have a float. And so for her to go from no float to award-winning float in 5 days, I think, is pretty remarkable. In fact, I think Pat and I on that Monday were kind of going, float schmoat, we don't need a float for the parade. And then next thing I know, it's like, okay, be at City Hall at this time because we're going to have the most awesome float ever. So congratulations,
Thank you.
Pat.
Congratulations. Thank you. And for back-to-back.
Thank you. Pat, did you want to say a few words, please?
Yeah, I think that we built, this is the first time we built a float in 2 days, right, Christy? It was, I think, 2 days. The turnaround was pretty quick because we had just done the duathlon and we were just dealing with that, and then we went right into the float making. But yeah, this is for City Hall. I do want to thank Chris Becker and all her family for, being my munchkins and my wizard and my good witch, Glinda.
That's
and
right there.
Yeah, and then our director also dressed up, and her child, and everybody, all our costumes most of our costumes are handmade, and we made them in 1 day. But that's our department. We work very, very quickly. And I did want to just say, regarding the duathlon, the 4 people, yes, they are the angels, and I'm gonna make sure that they're at every one of my runs. But also wanted to thank the EMS service. The CHP was right on it, and as well as the Sheriff's Department and their Explorer Post that helped us with all the bikers that were coming in for that event. So it was everyone just kicked in and did what we had to do. So really appreciate it.
Great job, Pat.
Okay, this is for you.
Thank
I'll
you.
leave it here.
Thank you, Pat.
At this time, we'll move on to our consent agenda. I am going to pull item number 6. Are there any other items that members would like to be pulled?
I'll move to approve items 3 through 5 and 7 through 10.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Jackson, second by Mr. Silva. Please ballot.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay, with regard to item number 6, I was hoping that staff could provide an explanation for this particular item, give us an update on where we are with the transfer terminal, and maybe a preview of coming attractions when we're going to be finalized. ribbon cutting, all that good stuff.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council members. I'm just going to go down through a PowerPoint on where we're at, how we're here, and basically where we're going on this very soon to be completed project. We're here to discuss a change order for an extension of contract for the construction management services. And I just wanted to assure you there's no impact to the general fund. The funding is out of the FTA grant, out of the project. During the construction of the project, bids came in lower than we anticipated, so there is amount of funding to cover this cost overrun. On December 4th, Council approved the agreement with Griffin Line for $349,000. The transfer terminal right now is about 90% complete. It's being aggressively pursued to completion. We are trying to get it completed in the next few weeks by December 31st. There has been some delays during construction, which has brought the project slightly behind schedule and has resulted in additional construction management fees in the amount of $48,000. And this is assuming construction is complete by January 14th, which we believe it will be. If construction is completed before that, Griffin Line will only bill for actual construction time, and the full $48,000 may not be expended. Additional material and inspection services were also required during the construction that have raised the city's costs related to inspection services. This is regarding material testing and welding inspections during the construction of the project. For this cost, for this additional material testing and inspection, there's an additional cost of $23,368. There is a small incidental additional fee, which is the request of the design of a metal base tripod required for the relocation of Main Street overhead light that was held by a removed power pole. And basically, there was a street light that's on Main Street that was held by a power pole on the alley closer to State Street. And when we relocated that power pole, as it was in conflict with the construction of the terminal, the street light would have fallen. So this is an alternate to basically keep that street light that's overhead on Main Street. Actually, that was $2,800 in design. Just I'll give you a construction status. The construction is at the final stages. The site work, building, canopies were the major components that are currently approaching completion. Landscaping, lighting are the final components of any construction project and are currently underway. The building is 90% constructed, it's painted, it's roofed. They're doing the final finishes on the inside. It's very minor finishes that it has, so it'll go quick. We anticipate it completing by next week. The canopies are 100% complete. You can almost see a picture down there in a PowerPoint that was taken this morning. The lighting is mostly complete. If you go out there right now at night, the site is lighted. Landscaping, I'm saying 20% complete because that's the last component, although it happens within a course of 10 days usually, landscaping. Our recommendation is to approve the extension of construction management services related to the construction of the bus terminal in the amount of $74,000. That's the addition of the $48,000 was related to an extension in time, and the $28,000 related to the material testing. I just wanted to show you some pictures which are kind of hard to see, but on the top left, you're looking southeast, I believe. If you're standing at basically where the ball at the plaza is at. And you can see that most of the palm trees are up, the canopies are up, the site work is done. The building is nearing completion on the lower left picture and the lower right picture. Landscaping is going in. And on the top right picture, you can see the stamped concrete that's on the site work on the north canopy that's done. That, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Mr. Silva?
Abraham, I don't know if you can answer this, but do we have an anticipated day where the facility becomes operational yet? I don't know if you or Marcela or someone can answer.
We're working on that. We're anticipating a ribbon cutting to happen in the second to third week of January, and we're working with IB Transit to schedule that transition. We've been meeting with them. It's basically a one-day transition for training of their bus drivers. It's really quick. As soon as we let them go, they'll go.
So by third week of January?
Potentially third week.
Because that question was raised at the chamber board meeting, so now you have the answer.
It's a third to fourth, let's say.
So that means that all of the buses that are currently circling City Hall will now be
relocated.
there, relocated there?
Yes, you'll still have a bus stop here, but it'll be a regular stop. You won't have the traffic, the pedestrian traffic on the bus transferring from one bus to another.
We alerted boat rights yet that that's going to be?
They've seen the construction going on.
Okay, I guess I was a little confused in the agenda report. Construction is aggressively proposed to be complete by December 24th.
At the time the item was written, yes.
Okay, and because then we have the January 14 date, so I wasn't sure about those two.
Yeah, the contractor is pushing to get it a substantial completion, they're calling, which is basically everything just below the punch line, the punch list, by next week. And they're still pushing up that. They think they're delayed a few days, so they're thinking by the end of the year now. We wanted to get approval to go up to January 14th just in case. If we don't go, that's a cost savings from that 48,000.
Okay.
Just a couple questions. I see that there's no impact to the general fund, but the FTA grant funding, I mean, was that the extra money that we need to approve this or to complete it, was that money allocated for something else, or?
No, what would happen is if we don't utilize the funding will go back to ICTC and they'll have to reallocate the remainder. It's a savings to the region, really.
And do you foresee any potential delays, anything that we can't not meet the January 14th, this worst case scenario?
At this point, we're on schedule. The contractor is moving ahead.
Perfect.
Per schedule.
Thank you, Mr. Campos.
Ms. Sanders?
I have
You've
no
been
que-
following this with...
Yes, I have been following this through the ICTC as well as being a part of this earlier on. So I think that we should all be pleased. And the buses that are circling City Hall now will soon be circling over on State Street. And that'll be good.
Yeah. And I do want to point out to the crowd here, the people in the audience, the palm trees. They're gorgeous. They're absolutely beautiful palm trees out there.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Very good. Okay, well, if all questions are answered, I'd ask for a motion to approve item 6.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Cardenas and a second by Mr. Jackson. Please, ballot.
Your motion carries 5-0.
Excellent. Let's move on now to agenda item number 10, discussion necessary action regarding approval of the second contribution payment in the amount of $12,500 to the El Centro Chamber of Commerce Visitor Bureau for the 2014 SCORE International Off-Road Racing Event.
Yes, Mayor Ruben, City Manager. This document was prepared by our management assistant and is indicated in direction at a previous meeting for the council in November. Contribution was split into 2 halves, and the second half of the contribution for the SCORE program required a demonstration of fundraising, as indicated, having a good time outside. And that goal was met, and therefore that's what this report is before you, is indicate that the requirement was made and a recommendation to fund the other $12,500.
So the thought was that we would use that as incentive for the chamber to be able to secure additional donations, and you feel that that's worked well?
Yes, it has.
Okay. Are there any questions? I see that the chamber's here. How's it going? Pretty good. Any questions?
No questions. No.
I move for approval.
Second.
The motion Jackson is second by Ms. Sanders. Please ballot.
Motion carries 5-0.
Okay. I need to do a little more scribbling with regard to item number 12, so I'd like to take item 13 out of order, please. And since I sit on the task force, I will be paying attention. If you don't mind, just give me a minute.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor and council members. This is the Council Chambers Project Award. The Sanders did the design of the Council Chambers. helped with the contract documents, bidding assistance, and they're going to also be doing the construction management. This is the floor plan. Basically, we're moving your area over here to along this wall here, and the audience will be facing to the left. Be a reduction in seating. The floor will be brought up to a flat area rather than a slope. There's a couple sections also. I believe this is section A here and B, and the next drawing shows these sections. You can see the large TVs were used to put the PowerPoints up on. The bids, we received 4 bids from 1.16 million to 1.436 or 8. Hard to recognize it from here. Low bidder was Caltech. This is the bid summary here, more detail. And it adds up to be the 1.16 million. The schedule is designed, the construction would begin January next month, middle of the month, and be completed in July. These are the references. Jimmy Sanders called all the references. I did too as well, and was able to reach 2 of the individuals. They gave very high recommendations for this construction company. And if you notice, a lot of the work is very like work. It's council chambers renovation, same here as well, and here as well. So they're definitely have been doing this type of work. Recommend award of the contract, the 1.16 million, and then we'd like to have a 10% contingency, but since that involves a combination of the impact, the Public Facilities Impact Fund, it's down to basically $31,000. So if we go with 10%, we'd have to pull from the general fund. The other alternative is just give us what's remaining in the Public Facilities Impact Fund, which is $30,000. That'd be a 2.7% contingency, very low contingency, but that's the way it's worked out. Any questions?
I have a question, Madam Mayor. Mr. Hagan, do you believe that contingency of 2.7% is adequate?
No.
Well, okay.
No, originally I had recommended 30 if we run into issues like mold or some other issues. But,
because of the age of this facility and all the things that in my mind I can envision maybe forthcoming.
That's true.
But then if that's not adequate and you're suggesting that, why do that? Why make that suggestion to us?
Well, it would be something to work with. Ultimately, if there are change orders, we will probably have to come back and get your approval to add those funds.
Madam Mayor, I'm thinking of something a little slightly modified from what Mr. Hagan has said. Perhaps a contingency with a floor of this 2.7 and going up to contingent upon what they may discover as they get into this building. And we know it will have to come from the general fund. I just don't want to hamper staff's ability to move forward with this project. And I know that that's something that the committee is also thinking. I would believe the committee is thinking that. I think that I'd like to see that we give them the flexibility contingent upon whatever may unfold. Asbestos, I mean, who knows?
That's right.
Okay, so you're looking at option A, is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Cardenas, did you have some questions?
I guess the only question I had is, I mean, we don't have an existing relationship or never had a prior relationship with Caltech?
No.
This is a new relationship?
No, but both the architect and I have called the references, and they're all coming back excellent.
Good. And just in regards to subcontractors, is there any local businesses that are participating as subs, whether in HVAC, roofing, any local vendors being used?
I'll let Jimmy Sanders answer that.
No.
No?
Wish we had a better report for you, but all of the contractors that they listed on their designation of subcontractors list are from out of town.
Okay, so again, just to make clear, there's no local vendors participating in this project?
Well, they're required to list on their designation of subcontractors all of the major contracts that would be included in the project, and there are no local contractors listed. So it's possible that they could be using one that wasn't listed, but I'm not aware of them. So.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And as the project gets underway, if they have an opportunity to swap out a contractor if need be, they could certainly be given names of local companies. Just unfortunate that that's not the way it worked out. It's also unfortunate that we didn't have local companies choose to bid on the project. But it sounds like we've identified a very good partner.
Yes.
Jason, Jackson was the other member of the task force. Do you have any additional comment?
I'll just say I'll echo Mr. Cardenas's concern, and I know Ms. Walker and I both looked at the proposals. It is unfortunate that we didn't have more participation from local contractors. There was one local that listed quite a few local subs, and then one of the other out-of-town companies did list a fair amount of local subs. Unfortunately, the disparity in the bid price was a problem, and even with our local preference, we couldn't make it. It wasn't enough to affect the overall price, and any type of changes that we had made would have delayed the process. So our only issue, I think, coming out of that last meeting was Swalker and I both want to make sure that this was a good, solid company with good, solid references, and I believe staff has, along with Mr. Sanders, has checked on that, and with all good reports. So
that's right.
I had a question, but it's been answered as far as the reliability of the company. You feel very comfortable, Terry, recommending. Where are they from? I don't know that I saw that on the back. Where are they headquartered?
Is it Santa Fe or? I don't recall.
Okay.
714.
I don't have a problem recommending option A as Ms. Sanders has suggested. I know that we're looking into perhaps having to tap into the general fund, but I think that giving staff that flexibility and the availability of those funds as they become necessary, it's important. And I know that they're going to be watching this and making sure that we don't encroach onto that general fund unless it's absolutely necessary. So I don't have, I would suggest that we give staff that flexibility and recommend option A. That would be a motion.
A motion by Mr. Silva.
Second.
Second by Ms. Sanders. Please ballot.
The motion carries 5-0.
I'd like to thank Mr. Sanders and staff for their remarkable work, including Ms. Connor on this project, moving it forward. It's very exciting to think that we're going to have.
And I would ask the city, I'm going to put this on city clerk. The OPOP has come along quite well. The stage has been delivered that was ordered. Ms. Caldwell, anything else you want to add on where the OPOP is and how we're doing?
The sound system has been ordered and it is here and just needs to be installed. And on the 26th, a group of staff members are going to get together and we're going to coordinate getting the audio set up and the IT ready for the OPOP. So it should be ready for, our goal is January 21st.
The second meeting in January.
I'd also like to thank Mr. Hagan and his staff. There were some concerns, or not concerns, there were some ideas put forward with regard to making sure that the lighting is sufficient over at the OPOP, the exterior lighting, the crosswalks get painted and all of that, and immediately zing zing, it was, the emails were flowing to get that all done. So
Yes, there's been quite a bit of remediation in the parking lot in the back.
Yes.
We never had enough money to finish this project, and what will really come out of this at the end is the OPOP will be ready when we're finished back in this building. That building will be where we really wanted it to be, but we couldn't bring it far enough. And the handicap access from the back is now fully ADA.
And the thought is to have the State of the City address at the OPOP again at the end of January. So Okay,
Madam
thank
Mayor,
you.
If I may,
Yes,
two things. Number one, Caltech Corporation is located in Westminster, California.
Westminster, okay.
And number two, with respect to the subcontractors that they have to list, they only have to list subcontractors who have a value of the contract in excess of 1/2%. So it's entirely possible that they'll have some of the smaller subcontractors come locally.
Thank you, Chris.
Isn't Westminster outside of the Los Angeles area?
South.
Thank you very much. All right, we'll back up to item number 12, and I do thank council members for giving me their preferences, and I think I was pretty much able to assign everyone or have everyone volunteer where we needed them. I think that it's really important for us to pause and think about the magnitude of the work that the council does. It's not simply showing up for meetings a couple of times a month. So as I go through this, there's a lot of stuff that we do outside of here. So, and Diane, I'll give you this back so that you'd have it for your records, okay? So starting at the top, as a legal appointment, I will continue as the SCAG representative. As a legal appointment, Mr. Jackson will continue as a LAFCO committee member. With regard to the Imperial County Transportation Commission, our representative will be Ms. Sanders, and I will serve as the alternate. That includes not only ICTC, but also LTA,
And safe.
SAFE, and IVRMA. Moving on to the California Joint Powers Authority, our representative will be Mr. Jackson. Our alternate will be the city manager or his designee. With regard to the El Centro Regional Medical Center Board of Trustees, our representative will be Mr. Silva. The ex officio member to the Board of Trustees will be Ms. Sanders. Air Pollution Control Advisory Committee, the representative will be Mr. Silva, and I will serve as the alternate. Airport Advisory Committee, our representative will be Mr. Jackson. Our alternate will be Mr. Cardenas. For the Imperial County Film Commission, our representative will be Mr. Cardenas. I could use an alternate there if someone was interested. Let's see, when do they meet?
I'm already on there.
Are you there now?
I'm the president.
What are you?
Are you president?
Yeah.
Oh, well then, I'm sorry. Let me back up.
I'm president from private sector.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, you know what, we're not gonna name you as an alternate then.
No.
We'll go ahead, I'll step in as an alternate. So if there's a meeting you can't make, just let me know.
What's the day, Madam Mayor?
Let's see, the Film Commission,
They meet on Monday, Mr. Jackson?
Yes,
they
Mondays.
meet the fourth Monday of every month at noon at the Chamber of Commerce. Okay? All right, so again, Imperial County Film Commission, Mr. Cardenas, and I'll serve as the alternate. Chamber of Commerce, the representative will be Mr. Silva. I'll serve as the alternate. United Way Emergency Food and Shelter Program representative will be Mr. Jackson, and I will serve as the alternate. The Mexicali liaison will have Mr. Silva and Mr. Cardenas. The Citizens Advisory Committee for Centinela State Prison, our representative will be Ms. Sanders. Our alternate will be Mr. Jackson. Moving on to the task force committees and our policy working groups. Community Enhancement Task Force, continue with Ms. Sanders and myself. The City Charter Task Force will be Ms. Sanders and Mr. Cardenas. The Animal Control Task Force will be Ms. Sanders and myself. The Council Chambers ADA Committee, which will have kind of a short lifespan now, will be continuing Mr. Jackson and myself. The Joint Land Use NAF Policy Group will be Mr. Jackson and myself. ECRMC Affiliation Task Force, Mr. Jackson and myself. The Fireworks Ad Hoc Committee will be Mr. Jackson and Ms. Sanders. Public Safety Task Force, with regard to infrastructure, will be Mr. Jackson and Mr. Cardenas. And then we have announced or expressed an interest in Ms. Sanders serving as representative on the Area Agency on Aging.
Awesome.
Any clarification, any changes?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, for working on that. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you all for the significant time commitment that represents, so appreciate that very much. Again, we'll get the final list distributed through the city clerk's office, so if in the future it turns out that you're unable to attend a meeting, if you could let your alternate know in advance so that can be accomplished. Okay, we'll move on and note that there are 3 informational items, 14, 15, 16. There's no scheduled business for either the successor housing agency or the successor agency to the redevelopment agency. At this time, we'll ask if there's any public comments. Seeing no public comments, we'll skip the council recess. We'll move on to the task force reports.
I have some reports, but not from the task force.
Okay.
Unless you wish to call ICTC a task force, I don't think so.
We'll include that in the
Okay.
mayor and council member reports and
Okay.
ask if you could present first then, Ms. Sanders.
Thank you. The ICTC met, and I'm happy to report we've been able to increase our service hours by 494 hours between Calexico and Brawley, and that means there's another line going in on Sundays. This was outgrowth of the Unmet Needs Committee, and so we had a funding stream that we were able to do it. The funding streams were partly from federal grants, and then a part of our half-cent sales tax, which then has 1/4 of that going in for transit. And it'll also be a part of the fare box. So those 3 components comprise the funding streams to have the service hours is increased. The unmet needs hearing certainly identified things that individuals were wanting to come into to the community on Sundays for hospitalization visits and bring in their loved ones, also for the purposes of recreation. I think, Madam Mayor, you would understand this one. This is a SCAG study that anticipates that out of the region, Imperial County will probably be one of the first coming out of its economic downturn, which we're very happy about, at least happy to hear it. And they anticipate that will be forthcoming because of the economic drivers would be the renewable energy, wind, geothermal, solar, etc. And then, of course, you've already heard quite a bit about the anticipated date for our ribbon cutting of our transit, and that's, of course, something we had identified it as mid-January, and if that date and time still is consistent with what staff is telling us, we hope that would be the case. And then I would like to report that on January the 30th will be the League's division meeting, and at that point, I hope that when they have the mayor's meeting, Madam Mayor, you will at least advance my name for consideration for Area Agency on Aging. That concludes my reports.
Thank you. Mr. Cardenas? Did you have anything in particular?
No, I do want to just thank the folks that worked on the Christmas parade. It was a special event. The Christmas parade is just an awesome event, and it was special to be a part of it. So I do want to recognize all those folks in public work, especially Mike Reed. Does an excellent job out there in the parade. So I do want to thank them and really appreciate all the efforts.
Likewise, I wanted to recognize staff and also the chamber for their really an outstanding parade. A week or so ago, 2 weeks ago, I don't know if there's a way to estimate crowds, but it certainly seemed to me that to be the best attended.
It did seem like that.
It was just the weather was perfect for it. It was a little cold, but not too cold. It was just a really wonderful event, so I appreciate that as well. I did attend my first Chamber of Commerce board meeting a few days ago. I think it was Monday. I seem to be working a lot during my off days from IBC. But I think they, within the agenda, Mr. Terrazas, Supervisor Terrazas gave a report on the strike force task, and they are scheduling one more visit to Washington. That would be the last one, with an expected decision to come out in mid-January. So this is coming to fruition very soon. Mr. Terraza still feels that we have a legitimate chance of being designated, but even if we do not, that there will be some residual benefits come out of our efforts. So that was somewhat of a positive report from Mr. Terraza as well. Yesterday, I attended the Christmas celebration by the Mexican consulate. They call it La Posada, which was a wonderful event in Calexico. But more importantly, in conversing with the consulate staff, Christy and I had a conversation before about the consulate's desire to bring more cultural events to El Centro, and kind of expanding the partnership that we currently have, and being able to use the old post office on a more recurring basis and bring artists and paint not just the traditional mariachis and folklorico dancers, but the artists and other events that represent the beauty of the Mexican culture. So I'm going to be setting up a meeting very soon with Christy and Mr. Duran and the Mexican consulate, so we kind of begin to formalize some kind of partnership, obviously after we vacate the old post office sometime next year. And let's see what else. I also attended the Veterans Advisory Committee meeting, and I was invited by one of the members to attend. I was there for a very short period of time, but I was asked by the Veterans Advisory Committee about the city's effort to provide veterans hiring preferences, and which we don't have anything in our books that gives veterans preference. So I talked to Terry briefly before, and I asked her to kind of look into that and come up with a report and see what if this is something that perhaps we should be considering. What are the pros and cons of having some kind of veterans hiring preference. So hopefully we'll come back with something to that effect in the near future. And a couple of save the dates related to the Mexican consulate. Some of you attended our Cinco de Mayo concert 2 years ago, where the Rondalla del Valle participated. And those of you that were there, it was just an incredible event. So we've secured the Southwest High School Theater already. We've secured La Rondalla. So save the date. It will be on May 2nd. We decided to go on a Friday instead of a Saturday because I think it's just a better day for that. And so we're not competing against some boxing event on Saturday. So I look forward to that. Also, different hat, but still a public comment in regards to our Dancing with the Stars Gala. That's going to be coming up on May 9th. We are not at liberty to yet disclose the dancers. We were still working on that, but save the date. The city typically has a table at that event, so I hope to see all of you guys there as well.
Excellent.
What's the date?
May 9th.
A couple things. Task force report attended the Sentinel Advisory Board last week. They are gearing up for the ACA accreditation, which they're hot and heavy into. That accreditation is a nationwide accreditation that will allow, they believe it will help them with litigation, both for and against. It's not only does it provide for standards for the inmates, but also standards for the correctional officers. The warden is very happy to be a part of that process because there's a lot of things that they've been able to get money for from the state that they normally wouldn't be able to access. They've had to clean, paint, repair every aspect of every part of that prison. About 10 years ago, when they shut down a lot of the vocational training programs, they literally just emptied out the people, locked up the doors, and left them. So in this process, they've gone in there and they said that it was much like a Holocaust movie or something. There's just the rooms had been abandoned. More than an inch of dirt throughout the entire facility. So it's been quite a process. But they are just about complete with the inspection actually taking place in, I think they said January, I think it's the third week of January. They fully believe that they'll be accredited. And then after that, it's an every 2-year process. So they're pretty happy with that situation. They've also got the bike program giveaway this Friday at 1 o'clock at the old CYA, if you know where that is, next door to the probation department. Santa will be coming in on a Harley. There will be music, DJ, food, and so that would be a good event. They have pledged 60 bikes for the children, but there will be more. So they said that they also wanted to express their thanks to Save El Centro because we donated the majority of those bikes for this program. So it's a very successful program. I've been a part of it in the past with Kiwanis. We've donated the bike helmets, and certainly we all remember Conrad Harrison. That was a labor of love for him. So, and they've actually named it after him. So it's actually the Conrad Harrison bike program. So. Also yesterday, I attended and took part in a car seat clinic with, it was a program put together with Senator Ben Wesso's office, the California Highway Patrol, and El Centro Kiwanis. We had 62 car seats on hand. CHP set up 4 stations, ran it for about 3.5 hours, ended up having to turn people away. It was so successful. But they did there was about 10 or 12 cars that were still in line. They instructed them to come down to the station. Something you might not know, there's actually an expiration date on the harness equipment on car seats. And if it's past a certain time, CHP then takes that car seat, destroys it, and then through the program we gave them a new car seat. So very successful program. Mr. Cardenas came out. And so we were out there in front of Cardenas Market yesterday. So it was very good. That'll be my report.
No, I do want to just recognize our own fire chief. He has a very special mission. This Saturday we'll be doing a toy drive for all of our foster kids in our county, and our fire chief's going to be the keynote speaker. And so I'm really looking forward to it. I think the committee's raised over 800 gifts for our foster kids. And so we have a big event at Korfman Korfman Multipurpose Room, and we're gonna have a bunch of foster kids, and our own fire chief's gonna be the keynote speaker. So I want to thank you, sir, for being a part of that, and look forward to seeing you on Saturday.
Madam Mayor, may I piggyback up on a statement made by Mr. Silva earlier regarding, I want to call it protected class as it relates to employment. As you recall, when myself, I believe, and I don't know if Mr. Solomon was a part of it or not, when we were looking at local preference, we were trying to identify protected classes and how we would, and at this point in time, we were working with Mrs. Pedra, and we noted that protected classes, veterans are already in that category. Veterans are already there, Mr. Silva. So I hope that when you and Mrs. Look at that, you will recognize that that is somewhat already in place. So I don't know if we wanted to go beyond that, if that was your intent to go a little bit beyond that, and then if so, that would be something that she would do.
Thank you, Ms. Sanders.
Well, I would like to echo, staff has just done an amazing job the last couple of weeks. We had the seasonal tree lighting on the 6th, which was very, very well attended. Christy, great job on that as always. And again, the Christmas parade was very, very cool. Several of us were able to attend the police badge pinning ceremony on December 10th. And congratulations again to the officers that were promoted. I think, Mr. Silva, you and I were also able to attend the retirement party for Jeff Mason. don't know, it's really hard to say goodbye to somebody, to wish them well on their retirement, knowing that, you know, I've probably got shoes in my closet that are older than he is, but we'll wish him well in his retirement and whatever he decides to go on to do. We had a ribbon cutting at Soul Orchard, which was phenomenal. I think they told us that that was the first project of its kind in the United States of America, and they selected El Centro for that location. And so that was very, very, very cool. If I could ask all of you to please check your calendars. I believe that Norma sent out the please check your calendars for the library meeting.
Yes.
They have a joint meeting with the library board. A draft agenda has already been proposed. If you have additional items relating to the library that you'd like circulated, we'll get that agenda out to you and look at that.
I was offered 2 dates, Madam Mayor. Which one was ultimately selected?
We don't know yet. Did you respond to both?
Well, I said either.
Yeah, if you're available for both, that would be great, and then we'll pick the one where the most are available. Or do we know?
I'm not available on the Monday.
Okay. Did you respond?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a date then selected, or?
We're still waiting for one member,
I voted today. I didn't yet. Oh.
but it is looking like Wednesday.
That was towards me.
Okay.
Especially when I said I'm going right back to my office to do that.
To do that right now, okay. So
Wednesday, it's looking like
it
Wednesday.
looks like it'll be Wednesday. Okay, that'll be great. And so next we would contact the library board members and make sure. So that would be Wednesday, the 29th. That's what we're looking to do. Okay. Well, with that, I think that we are wrapping up, and I just want to wish you all. We need to meet for a closed session, Norma? No. Nothing new to report. Okay, so with that, I would just like to wish you all a very, very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. We're not meeting on the 7th of January, so you guys are all going to miss my birthday.
Mr. Silva's birthday's tonight.
And your birthday is?
Today.
Today?
Right now.
Are
as
you
we
serious?
speak.
Really? Okay, we're singing Happy Birthday. Ready? Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mr. Silva. Happy birthday to you.
I've reached the incredible milestone of the double fives.
Oh, don't say it quite like that. Wow.
If it's the double fives, that means you're 10.
There we go. Anybody else?
I just want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas as well, so thank you.
Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
Right.